on this Friday night.
There were definitely people pinned.
A double-decker bus ripped open in a deadly crash in Ottawa.
Our hearts and condolences go out to all those injured.
Why did the vehicle suddenly smash into a shelter?
I went asylum.
We have accepted the UN's request.
Her pleas for asylum captured the world's attention. Tonight, the young Saudi woman is on her way to Canada. But what about the countless others still afraid for their lives?
It was last updated in 2007.
So, yeah, it's pretty outdated.
And Canada's 4 food groups aren't just out of date. Some believe the advice in Canada's food guide can be downright harmful. We go in depth with 3 doctors and ask if the food guide can and should be saved. This is The National.
Ottawa's rush hour turned deadly this evening. The city is reeling from a horrible crash. A double-decker city bus ramming into a transit shelter. 3 people have been killed, 23 injured, many of them critically, and the driver is under arrest. Here are some photographs from the scene. The front of the bus was completely smashed open. The roof of the shelter cut into the upper deck of the vehicle. Traffic in the area snarled as dozens of first responders descended on the scene. Let's take a look at where this happened. The bus was leaving downtown Ottawa, making several stops. At Tunney's Pasture, it turned into an express route to Bayshore, but then the bus crashed into that transit shelter at Westboro. That's where the CBC's Evan Dyer is tonight at the scene of the crash. And Evan, tell us what you know about what happened.
Well, Ian, that transit route, that express transit way that you describe is right behind me here. You can see a pedestrian bridge goes over it. The bus is directly under that, about a 10-meter drop down from there. It was driving along the transit way filled with passengers, and at capacity that means about 90 people, when at 10 to 4 for some reason it began to swerve, according to one passenger who we spoke to, before impacting that bus shelter on the right-hand side of the transit way, with the consequences that you just showed in those photographs. The roof of the shelter slicing into the upper deck of the bus. 2 of the fatalities were passengers on the bus. 1, we believe, was at the shelter, certainly on the ground. Let's listen to Bilal Gill, who was a passenger at the back of that bus.
Basically what happened was the bus just started swerving. I guess it hit the curb or hit something. Started swerving, and then the driver couldn't get control back, and then it just hit the Westboro, the shelter thing. It just crashed right into it. Yeah, and then a lot of people started screaming. The people at the front that got pinned, I guess, under their seats and stuff. But yeah, it was kind of chaos at first, and then slowly as people started to get a grip, then called the police. Police came pretty fast and got everything under situation. We kind of just had to wait. And so we sat in the bus for a while until they broke the windows and got us out.
And Bilal described being rescued there from the upper deck of the bus. When we arrived, there were 4 or 5 ladders leaning up against the bus. That was how first responders got up there to bring people down from that upper deck where most of the damage seems to have occurred. Of course, this occurring at rush hour caused panic around the city from people who were trying to track down relatives, friends and family members who they thought might be on that bus or who were on that bus. We caught up with one woman, Mary Hawkeye, who was looking desperately for her son. Let's listen to her.
We've been trying to call him, and there's no response. It goes directly to voicemail, so I'm hoping that it's just a mix-up, that maybe his schedule was off or something. He works in a restaurant, but I've called there, and they said he left a couple of hours ago, so...
So there was a few hours of real fear there for Mary Hawkeye and many other people. In that particular case, one good piece of news to report tonight is that Mary Hawkeye's son has shown up safe and sound.
That is nice. Now, Evan, what are police saying about the driver?
Well, now that is one element of this story that came up in the news conference where Chief Charles Bordelot said that she had been arrested. Let's listen to how he described that.
The driver of the bus was detained on scene by police and will be interviewed at our police station.
We don't know, of course, what that's about. He was pushed a little bit on that topic and asked why. He said he didn't want to get into details, but he said something led police to arrest her. Obviously, she doesn't appear to be severely injured because she wasn't one of the many people taken to hospital. And we should add that this is actually the second fatal crash involving these double-decker Ottawa buses. Now, we saw one very serious one in 2013, which I'm sure many people will remember. 6 fatalities when an Ottawa double-decker bus hit a train. There was a lengthy investigation, and that crash was determined to be human error.
All right, well, we'll continue to watch for developments on this, Evan. Thank you very much, Evan Dyer in Ottawa. The Prime Minister shared a message of support tonight for those affected, tweeting, "I want to send my deepest condolences to the families of victims and everyone affected by today's tragic bus crash in Ottawa. We will keep you updated throughout the hour and the evening here on The National." The bus crash in Ottawa isn't the only one involving Canadians to tell you about. There's also been a serious incident in Cuba. A driver lost control on a wet road, flipping a bus on its side yesterday. It was carrying at least 40 people, a mix of local residents and tourists. 7 were killed, 5 others are in critical condition. 2 Canadian men in their 50s have been treated for minor injuries. Global Affairs Canada says it's in touch with local officials. Let's turn now to a dramatic story that began in Kuwait, moved to Thailand, and is now playing out in Canada. A defiant young Saudi woman's successful battle for freedom. The 18-year-old risked everything when she broke away from a family holiday in Kuwait last weekend. She fled to Bangkok only to be met there by Saudi authorities who tried but failed to take her back. Now she's on her way to Canada. Katie Simpson has more details on her great escape.
These are Rahaf Mohammed Al Qanoon's first steps toward her new life. The Saudi teenager left Bangkok today en route to Toronto. Canada answered the UN's call to grant her asylum.
That is something that we are pleased to do because Canada is a country that understands how important it is to stand up for human rights, to stand up for women's rights around the world.
Al Qanoon captured global attention after barricading herself in a Thai hotel and pleading for help on social media.
I want asylum.
She says she escaped her abusive family after renouncing Islam and that if she were to be sent home, she would be killed. Thai immigration officials say Al Qanoon refused to meet with her father and brother before leaving for Canada.
The success of this young woman in fleeing Saudi repression, in finding a safe haven, this will reverberate throughout Saudi Arabia.
Al Qanoon's arrival in Canada could further strain the relationship between Ottawa and Riyadh.
The reaction in Saudi Arabia is going to be difficult.
Difficult because Saudi Arabia is already furious with Canada over tweets demanding the release of human rights activists. In a swift response, the kingdom recalled all Saudi students, cancelled flights, ordered its ambassador home, and kicked Canada's ambassador, Dennis Horak, out.
I think the intensity of the Saudi reaction, is going to be conditioned in part by what happens next.
The more attention Al Qanoon gets, the greater the potential for Saudi retaliation. There are no signs she's planning to shy away from the public, tweeting the journey to her new home with a glass of red wine and the simple hashtag, "I did it."
Canada did not get much public support during the summer dispute with Saudi Arabia. But given the recent outrage over the murder of Jamal Khashoggi and the war in Yemen, Canada may now have some vocal allies. Katie Simpson, CBC News, Ottawa.
It is worth pointing out that a few short years ago, her escape might not have been possible. But such is the power and speed of social media in a connected world. And now Al Qanoon's bid for freedom is making waves inside the kingdom and out.
Rahaf Mohammed Al Qanoon, mark my words, is going to start a revolution in Saudi Arabia. Go on social media now and watch the accounts of so many young Saudis.
Al Qanoon's story already inspiring other Saudi women to share their stories, threatening to leave the country using an Arabic language hashtag that roughly translates as "remove the guardianship system or we'll all migrate." That would appear to be a bold stand considering last May's crackdown on Saudi feminists.
And those activists have not been charged, they've not been put on trial, several of them have been tortured, one of them has been waterboarded, and their only crime, quote unquote, is that they for years have been fighting to end the guardianship system.
And to underscore just how risky being a Saudi feminist can be, one of the women who helped Rahaf spoke to CBC Radio this week. She now lives in Canada but was too afraid of the regime to give her name.
It is scary. You know, even when you are trying to support this campaign in Saudi Arabia, you always have to cover your tracks. If you got caught, this is something bad.
Still, Rahat's story has inspired other similar campaigns. Hashtag Save Basma hopes to help a Yemeni girl get asylum in Turkey. She fears being killed by family back home after renouncing Islam. And hashtag Save Hakim supports a Bahraini soccer player currently detained in Thailand. He fears prison or torture if he's sent home for once taking part in a pro-democracy rally. And a last note on the story tonight, Canada was not actually Rahaf Al-Qanoon's first choice. She had first planned to go to Australia, which was open to taking her, but would not grant automatic asylum. When Canada said it would, she jumped at the chance. Now to the story of another resilient young woman, and Jamie Kloss has quite a story. The Wisconsin teen had been missing since her parents were found murdered nearly 3 months ago. But as we told you on the late editions of The National last night, she was found alive. The man who police say held her captive is now in custody. He's facing charges of murder and kidnapping. Kim Brunhuber now with details of her dramatic escape.
88 days. 88 days of hope, of prayers against all the odds, answered.
I had hope. Every day there was hope.
But relatives now admit hope of finding 13-year-old Jamie Kloss had been fading. After all, it had been almost 3 months since that night in mid-October when police entered Kloss's home in rural Wisconsin to find her parents shot to death. The front door was open and Jamie was gone. A national police hunt turned up nothing. And then, yesterday afternoon, in a remote area about an hour north of her home, a woman was walking her dog when Kloss came up to her.
She just said, "I'm lost and I don't know where I am and I need help."
So Nutter pounded on her neighbor's door.
The door opened up and her dog came through and Jeannie walked in and said, "This is Jamie Kloss and call 911. I was in absolute shock.
Kloss's hair was matted and her shoes were too big. It was, Kaczynska says, like seeing a ghost.
She looked exactly the same as she did in her picture, a little bit thinner, I would say, and then she looked really tired and like she's been fighting a battle for weeks.
Kloss had managed to escape the home in which she was allegedly being held by 21-year-old Jake Patterson. Police arrested Patterson as he was driving around trying to find Kloss.
In cases like this, we often need a big break, and it was Jamie herself who gave us that break.
Authorities say Patterson targeted the teen and acted alone, but doesn't believe he had any prior contact with Kloss or her family and are still struggling to find a motive.
I know all of you are searching for the answer of why any of this happened. Believe me, so are we.
Kloss was hospitalized, evaluated, and questioned by authorities before being reunited with her relatives.
It's just unbelievable, and we're all just so grateful and happy.
The long, agonizing wait now, finally over. Kim Brunhuber, CBC News, Los Angeles.
You just heard a little from Jean Nutter, the woman who was out walking her dog when she came across Jamie. We want to play more of that interview now. She is our witness.
When I first saw her, I thought, oh, has she run away? Did somebody just dump her off here? Because she didn't have coats or gloves. And then when she told me who she was, I figured she must have left in a hurry. She was scared, but then when she, I stayed calm, so she stayed calm. I didn't grab her and run off through the woods, which would have been maybe an instinct, but no, I just held on to her and I said, we're going to find somebody who's home, we're going to call the police, you're going to be okay, you're going to be safe, everything's going to be fine, you're going to be fine. I just kept saying that.
Jamie Kloss likely faces a long emotional recovery. Elizabeth Smart knows something about that. In 2002, she was just 14 years old when she was taken from her Salt Lake home. Today on Instagram, she wrote, "No matter what may unfold in her story, let's all try to remember that this young woman has survived, and whatever other details may surface, the most important will still remain that she is alive." Back to this country now in a loud, angry show of support for 2,600 unionized auto workers set to be laid off by General Motors. Well over 1,000 protesters demanded that GM reconsider the fate of its Oshawa plant. The CBC's Olivia Stefanovich heard from workers and got a response from the company.
Sell here! Sell here!
The defiant message here
"We are not giving up."
I've been a 30-year GM employee. I've been proud to be a GM employee. I am proud no longer.
Dave Greenwood will be laid off later this year when the Oshawa assembly plant closes. He still can't accept that.
I'm not there. I'm still in fight mode, and I just, it's not even on my mind.
Out of frustration, he and his colleagues made the 4-hour drive to Windsor, where GM closed another plant in 2010. They flooded a park to send a message to GM executives across the river at the Detroit headquarters. The company announced today that profits for 2018 were higher than expected. Still not enough, though, to keep Oshawa's assembly line running.
We are not throwing in the towel, and I am completely committed to having General Motors change their mind.
But GM says its decision is final, part of a global restructuring plan. It wants the union to move on.
What we can do is transform these people and have them trained up and ready to move into different jobs. And that's really a subset of what's happening in our broader economy. Jobs are changing, workplaces are changing.
And if they're going to pay for me to go to school, so be it. I'm going to use their money and put it towards my future, and you can bet your ass I'm not buying a GM vehicle ever again.
Some workers feel this show of anger may be futile. Still, Unifor vows to continue its fight, taking it to the Detroit Auto Show next week. Olivia Stefanovic, CBC News, Windsor, Ontario.
Our Nick Purdon was also at the rally today, and he invited people to sit in his signature red chair, and he asked them a question.
What would I say to GM?
What would I like to say to GM? You greedy bastards. You're heartless. It's terrible what you're doing to all our families.
I am infuriated and immensely disappointed.
You are destroying people's lives. We build the best vehicles. It's known all over the place that we build the best vehicles. We sell vehicles like crazy, and you're just greedy and you don't care. You don't care about the people that care about you.
Everyone's crying on the line. We're trying to make things run smooth, but it's not. We're all upset.
I worry about the future of Canada and most of all, the future of the employees that still have a job in GM, because I feel they will be finished totally.
What would I say to GM?
I'm wearing this outfit because they're going to go pay people to take our jobs when they made $6 billion in the first 3 quarters of the year. It's wrong.
I'm distraught. I don't know what to do.
I hope from the bottom of my heart that these rallies will work.
I don't know whether it will or not, but hope so.
I'll shame them until I die. I'll make sure my kids don't buy GM. I'll make sure my grandkids don't buy GM. They've ruined my life, so.
An update tonight on the U.S. government shutdown. It is now tied for the longest in history.
It's worries, it's just, emotions, and, you don't know when this is all going to sort itself out.
This Homeland Security analyst is just one of 800,000 federal workers who didn't get paid today. It's been 21 days since funding expired for several key government agencies as Democrats and Republicans face off over funding for a border wall. Neither side is willing to back down.
This is where I ask the Democrats to come back to Washington and to vote for money for the wall, the barrier, whatever you want to call it. Name it peaches. I don't care what they name it, but we need money for that barrier.
The U.S. president says federal workers will get paid retroactively when the government reopens. The previous record for longest government shutdown was set by President Bill Clinton in 1996. still ahead on The National. An emotional goodbye from a tennis great, what Andy Murray's career on and off the court meant to the UK. And our panel of doctors weigh in on Canada's food guide, why they say change is needed. Plus, a toy that's generating a lot of buzz. Some parents want stores to pull it off their shelves.
Who made the decision to take a bomb that's dangerous, put it in a pretty little box with a family playing with it, and put it on a shelf?
The big question going into today's session was whether having cameras in the Commons would alter the MPs' behavior, whether attacks would be moderated, whether there'd be fewer humorous asides. Joe Clark's opening question to the Prime Minister showed no lack of aggression.
Since the Prime Minister and the government's forecasts in its last two budgets have been dead wrong concerning economic growth and job creation, will the Prime Minister tell the House right now what specific programs his government will introduce this month to bring jobs to the more than 1 million Canadians who are out of work today because of the policies of this government?
But it was the Prime Minister who was really the first to take off the gloves.
This calls for more than just bland statements by the Leader of the Opposition.
And then later to some heckling by George Hees.
I don't know if the member of Prince Edward Hastings thinks he's on camera, but he's not.
That seemed to set the tone for Sinclair Stevens, Tory finance critic, and Jean Chrétien, the new finance minister.
But first, if I may, I would like to congratulate, if that's the proper expression, the minister on becoming the 4th Minister of Finance under the Prime Minister.
I would like to thank very sincerely the 6th critic of the Tories.
But it was John Diefenbaker who had the last laugh. He was referring to the Prime Minister's response to a suggestion that certain veteran MPs be admitted to the Privy Council.
Before the Prime Minister came here, and his lack of knowledge of the subject is therefore understandable.
For the moment, at least, the cameras seemed to have less of an effect than they might have. Everyone was clearly conscious that they were there, but there was less playing to them than might have been anticipated. That all may change, of course, as MPs get a sense of how they're coming across and decide whether or not they like the image they're conveying. Mark Phillips, CBC News, Ottawa.
There's usually a pretty clear distinction between innocent and inappropriate, but some say a game on store shelves is blurring the line. This is cut the wires, and yes, it is a toy bomb. The goal is to defuse the fake bomb before time runs out, and that's ruffled a few feathers. As Jacqueline Hansen tells us, retailers are responding.
The device is ticking and is about to go off.
A plastic bomb-like toy that players try to defuse before time runs out.
Trust me, it's so much fun.
Yeah, it's really fun.
Online toy reviewers, often given toys by the manufacturer for free, seem to like it.
Okay, you're still in the game.
But this London, Ontario mom saw it on display at her local Walmart and thinks the game is a bust.
Who made the decision to take a bomb that's dangerous, put it in a pretty little box with a family playing with it, and put it on a shelf? It's desensitizing our children to what's dangerous.
She posted about it on Facebook, and so have other bewildered shoppers. In the U.S., Target stopped stocking it. It says it takes customer feedback seriously and worked to remove this item from our assortment.
Walmart Canada says it appreciates the concerns raised regarding the toy and that it didn't intend to offend anyone by carrying it. The game is still for sale here and at other Walmart locations in Canada, but the company says once its stock runs out, it won't order any more.
It's either an appropriate toy or it's an inappropriate toy.
This retail consultant and former toy buyer says Walmart's response falls short.
Bombs are associated with terrorism and war. There's really no other way to say it. And I think it's just, it's sad, and I think it's just completely inappropriate for really any retailer to sell this.
He says that while some Canadians may not take issue with the toy, retailers should remove it rather than risk upsetting any customers.
I don't want to shop there, period, anymore. Like, the decision makers are clearly missing something.
CBC reached out to Yulu, the company that makes the game, about the concerns, but it has not responded. Jacqueline Hansen, CBC News, London, Ontario.
We have a lot more ahead on the National tonight, including the latest from Ottawa and that deadly double-decker bus crash.
Coming right up, we are expecting some big changes to Canada's food guide this spring. So we'll ask 3 doctors to weigh in on what should and shouldn't be in there. Also, why some of the advice handed out for decades may have done more harm than good.
What is a powwow?
They're social gatherings where everyone's invited to dance, sing, and celebrate Indigenous culture. There are 2 types of powwows, traditional and competition.
Traditional powwows are usually smaller. They have teachings, ceremonies, and a feast.
People from all over the country take part in competition powwows. Top cash prizes are given to the best dancers, drummers, and drum groups. They typically follow the powwow trail and attend as many powwows as they can throughout the summer.
Dances and songs differ depending on the powwow's location, and each dance style and song has a different meaning.
Fancy shawl dancers mimic butterflies emerging from a cocoon. Grass dancers come in first.
The grass dance is a beautiful dance that represents the people that went first.
Jingle dancers are the healers and pray for those in need.
The jingle dress dance is a healing dance that originates from the Anishinaabe people.
Men's traditional tells stories of battles or hunts, while women's traditional move their feet slowly to massage the earth. Dancers work on their attire, called regalia, all year round. They're commonly adorned with elaborate beadwork and eagle feathers on soft leather or fabric applique.
These are considered ceremonial, and it is impolite to touch them without permission.
Photos are generally permitted, but it is polite to ask permission first. Most dancers will be happy to strike a pose. There are also art and food vendors at powwows.
Get your mocks on, get your braids tight, and I'll see you at the powwow trail. Update Shamil. See you later.
We were coming back from Fisher River. Well, we just finished the powwow there in Fisher River, and we were coming down to Long Plains. We set up camp, and we were going to go into Portage for breakfast and coffee. And so my wife jumped out of the vehicle, and she grabbed a few of her things out of the back, and she totally forgot to close the tailgate. I was already in the driver's seat, ready to go. She jumps in, we drove off. Coming to the Trans-Canada Highway turnoff, I kind of picked up speed, and somehow that happened, that my back case must have fell off.
I was coming in from my cottage, and that's when I seen the case, and I just drove right by it. And I guess curiosity got the best of me. I wanted to know what was in the case, so I turned around, I went back, and I got it.
Everything was in there, my roads, my bus, my whole regalia. It's a part of who I am. It's a part of the Cree man that I am. That's my life, that's what I know. That's who I am. That's a way to keep my culture traditions alive and to pass them on.
I never even looked at it, what was in it. I just automatically picked it up and put it in the back of my pickup and just kept going. Once I seen what it was, like I say, I knew it had to be returned to the rightful owner. So that's when I done a little bit of investigating and find out where the powwow was, and I brought it out to the powwow.
Just ready to go home and just say, well, that's it. So enough, she happens to go to the announcer stand and she asked for help, and sure enough, there it was. It was just sitting there. I was just so amazed. I didn't know what to do. My face just lit up, and smile on my face. I was just so happy.
I done a good thing that turned into a very good thing. And I'm very happy the man has his stuff back so he can continue on with his traditional dancing.
I'm very, very grateful for what he did. Like I said, a lot of people have lost outfits and never seen them again. So I wanted to come back and I wanted to meet Blaine face to face, shake his hand, and give him something of my appreciation for what he did.
We're following the latest developments out of Ottawa. 3 people are dead. Almost 24 others have been hurt, 7 critically after a bus slammed into a transit shelter. It happened this afternoon at the beginning of rush hour on the transitway at Westboro Station. Witnesses say the double-decker bus was packed when it swerved and hit the shelter. The front of the bus and part of its side were sheared off, and the front...
Canada's Food Guide.
For more than half a century, it's been our guide on what to eat.
It was last updated in 2007.
So, yeah, pretty outdated.
And given what we know now in 2019,
some of the advice in that guide could be harmful.
So this year, it's getting an overhaul.
The undertaking is huge.
The cost is high.
So is it worth it?
Is it worth it?
Is it worth it?
I'm Lennox Wong, Chief Medical Officer at the Hospital for Sick Children in Toronto.
I'm Danielle Martin, Family Physician and Vice President at Women's College Hospital in Toronto.
I'm Sean Wharton, Internal Medicine Specialist and Medical Director of the Wharton Medical Clinic Obesity and Diabetes Center.
And my biggest problem with the food guide is that nobody even knows what a portion size is.
Is that it's been tough for families to interpret and carry out.
It's trying to prescribe one dietary measure for all Canadians, and that's not possible.
Okay, now one thing that all of our panelists have in common, I think, is that they all believe the Canada Food Guide as it exists today is problematic, but maybe more importantly, that the consequences of a bad food guide ripple out far and wide. So I want to start by just doing a quick go around. If I could ask you if you even use Canada's Food Guide in your practice. Danielle?
I don't.
Lennox?
No.
Sean?
Currently, no.
No, okay. So Danielle, why? I mean, what are specific things in the food guide that you think are so problematic?
Well, you know, the food guide talks, for example, about juice as an alternative to fruit, which I think is really problematic given the sugar content in juice. And it also talks about portion sizes as though normal people go around with measuring cups and, you know, scales measuring the amount of food that they put onto their plate. And so it's not a very user-friendly way to talk about healthy eating. As important as that conversation is, I think there are more effective ways to have it.
But I mean, isn't the simplicity of it one of its appeals? I mean, Sean, you know, I think even just as an approximation, the notion that, hey, maybe we ought to have a balanced diet of meat and fruits and vegetables and dairy and milk and grains. Isn't there value in that?
Not when there's no value in the simplicity or the reductionist theory of that, because what happens a lot of times if you're looking at disease states such as obesity and diabetes, for instance, which is what I deal with most of the time, the food guide doesn't work for that because it is too simplistic. It's too reductionist. It doesn't help me for my patients who are very specific and need specific types of guidelines. So it tries to reduce everything into this is what you should do, when in fact there's multiple things that people have to do. So I think that's where some of the problems are.
And Lennox, I'm seeing you nodding as you're listening to Sean speak. I mean, is that one of the problems in your mind of the food guide, that it purports to be the sort of one-size-fits-all approach?
Yeah, so the positive is that it's a start to a conversation, and so you can start to have conversations about groups of food. The problem, I think, is that it can lead you to the wrong conclusions, and so people start to think that a slice of bologna is the same thing because it's in the same food group as chicken breast that's been grilled. And these are incorrect conclusions, and I think that could lead to some unhealthy eating habits.
Would you go so far as to say that the food guide as it exists right now is harmful? I mean, is it doing more harm than good?
I think it reflected the understanding that we had at the time that it came out. But our understanding has changed. You know, the evidence has changed, research has evolved, and there's a lot that we know now that we didn't know 12 years ago. So I would say it's sorely due for this update. And I suspect that if we think about how people can, what we know now about what can guide behavior and in healthy living, we know a lot more about what motivates people and how we can support people in making healthy choices. If we apply some of that evidence, not just the evidence about this nutrient or that nutrient, to the way that we frame the food guide, then I think, you know, your point about conversations, Lennox, is a really important one. It will allow us to have more productive conversations, not just in the doctor's office, but in our schools and elsewhere.
Sean, but what do you think in terms of the the relative harm versus the relative good of the guide as it stands.
Right. So I think that what the guide is there for, it's there to give us a little bit of guidance when you're in the grocery store, when you're at a school. So we're looking at preventative measures. We're looking at what you would look at on the grocery shelf as being a healthy item versus a non-healthy item. So if it's going to give us some guidance there, it should do a better job than it currently has.
So let's talk about then some of the potential changes that we might see, because we've seen some drafts, we've seen some proposals in that sense of what we can expect in the spring. And so, you know, one of the things is the shift towards plant-based proteins, and necessarily that means a shift perhaps away from meat, away from dairy. So there's a lot to tackle there. Lennox, maybe we start with the dairy side of things. So, I mean, I always think of dairy as being a source of not just protein, but calcium, right? So if there's less prominence on dairy, where do you get your calcium?
Yeah, so it's true, dairy is a fantastic source of calcium. There's no taking away that quality from dairy. But there's a lot of other sources of calcium in our diet. So we get plenty of calcium from green leafy vegetables, as an example. And it's important that we have a bit of that balance and that people don't see one particular food as the sole source of one particular nutrient.
Another proposal that we've seen is a shift away from meat as a protein. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, what my understanding is that what we're going to see is meat going into a larger kind of protein category that will include, you know, other things like lentils and, you know, chickpeas and tofu and, you know, cheese and other eggs, other forms, you know, good sources of protein, some of which come from animal sources and some of which come from plant sources. And I think Lennox's point about the bologna is a really important one, because meats that are highly processed, you know, have nitrates in them and have added fats and sugars and chemicals put into them. It's not the same as a chicken breast.
But even if you set processed meats aside, I mean, if the exclusion of meat as its own food group, is that a decision that's driven out of health concerns, or is it driven out of environmental concerns, which is a whole other thing?
I think it could be both. And I think the other thing is to understand, you know, and Sean's the obesity expert here, but that living a healthy lifestyle and maintaining a healthy weight also isn't solely about what you eat. You know, it's about other choices that we make in our daily lives. And so we can't kind of siphon these things off and have them be exclusive. We have to look at them, you know, in the broader spectrum.
There was a statistic that suggested in 2017, 64% of Canadians reported as overweight or obese. As we talk about Canada's food guide and how it might relate to that problem, how it might be instrumental in solving that problem.
If we're looking at obesity, we know that refined carbohydrates have been a big challenge. So we have looked at fat as being the major problem for a long, long time, and that was a mistake. So I think we're moving away from saying that fat is the problem, and we're looking more towards saying that the refined carbohydrates are causing more of a challenge. But that doesn't mean that we're getting rid of all carbs. So we're moving more towards protein, towards fibers, and less from the refined carbohydrate. And what Danielle was talking about as well was maybe some of the behaviors that we have, some of the stressors and the emotional eating and some other factors in our lives that contribute to excess eating, even addiction type of eating. So all these things have to be factored into why Canada is such an elevated weight and why the treatment of weight is so challenging.
You talk about the relative importance then of diet when it comes to weight loss and when it comes to obesity. I think of kids in particular. Does that present its own kind of challenge, or do you have to think about it differently?
Well, I think we think about it very similarly. In fact, one of the few things we know is that about our current epidemic of obesity and overweight adults is that it starts early. It starts in childhood. So right now, it's a third of children in Canada are either overweight or obese. Now, we don't know all the factors that go into that, but what we do know is that diet forms a part of this, the types of food we eat form a part of it, and activity. And for kids, that's play. So if we have environments that don't encourage play, that don't allow kids to go out there, enjoy, have fun, and really, to the best of their ability, improve their own health, then that's going to contribute to the obesity epidemic.
So as we wrap things up then, in what ways would you like to see the Canada Food Guide be revised so as to I don't know, potentially be able to reverse the trend of obesity in this country over the next generation or few generations? What is it that you would want to see?
I would love to see an emphasis on eating foods that we prepare ourselves, you know, that come from actual, as Michael Pollan would say, what your grandmother would have recognized as food, eaten together, you know, as much as we can amongst friends and family, because I think that that also speaks to the social role of food and to the need to make sure that healthy ingredients are affordable and accessible for Canadian families.
I want to go around the table on that. Sean, maybe I'll ask you.
Yeah, I think we need to eat whole foods. We need to cook as a family. We need to understand eating as an enjoyable aspect. We need to understand the social factors, emotional factors, and the health factors. So not just the reductionist kind of levels that we've looked at. What is a calorie? What is it going to do to weight? But how do we eat, and what should we be eating to try to be as healthy as possible? And that's a little bit of a different dialogue.
And Lennox, I mean, the food guide, kids are learning this in school. That was my first interaction with this, right? Learning about the 4 basic food groups. What is it you would want to see in that vein?
I'd love to see our food guide reflect the multicultural nature of our country. So a lot of the foods that we have on our tables at home look different than what might appear in this rainbow chart of food that's broken down into the individual bits and pieces. So things that actually reflect meals of where we come from, whether it's from Asia, whether it's from Africa, Europe, or if maybe your family's a multi-generational Canadian family.
Right. If I have a bowl of chow mein, what does that mean, right?
Exactly.
In terms of the food, how many servings of what are in
Exactly.
there. Really fascinating conversation. Thanks so much, guys, for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our pleasure. Thank you.
Up next on The National, the 90s weren't that long ago, really, but pop music is already looking back and cashing in on nostalgia culture.
Pop music right now is a little bit more slowed down, a little bit more melancholic and sad, and I feel like listeners like myself, we go back to the 90s to have that, you know, blissful feeling again.
Backstreet's back, all right.
Independence, it's, comment on dit en français, une utopie.
It's a utopia?
Yes.
You don't think it's going to happen?
Oh, not my life.
My parents voted yes at the last referendum, and they really talked to me a lot about it. You know, everybody was in front of their TV, and they were watching. They were really eager to know the results, and they were really disappointed. But they didn't stay bitter after this. They continued to, you know, get interested in politics, but you know, it was a deception, really.
I want to have a referendum as soon as possible, but we understand that the population, the people are not ready to this step. So we're going to put this on the side for the first government of PQ, and then we'll prove to the people that we can drive the government.
I think it's sad because for me, the independence should be a transversal theme. Not speaking of that is not a good idea, at my opinion, because people will forget it and lose the interest.
Right now, I'm not really interested in that debate. At my age, with a young family, I'm trying to find a party that is taking care of the hurt and taking care of the kids. If the nationality question was on the table, I won't be interested in the PQ.
I don't know how we could get, you know, young people get more interested in politics and in, you know, the idea of Quebec being independent. We're trying as young members of a party to find a solution to this, but it's really, really hard. I don't think people are really, you know, now egoistic. They just have different priorities. And maybe these priorities are not focused on, the collectivity, but on the individual, like getting a great job, because it's really hard right now to get a great job.
Imaginez le printemps dans un Québec indépendant.
Pensez-vous que le Parti québécois, c'est le parti d'une seule génération?
I don't talk about this with my friends, but like more with my father, because it's like you have to be interested in politics because it's really important in life. But I'm like, it's not really my thing.
I'm a sovereignist, and I will be always a sovereignist.
It comes from the bottom of your heart that I'm a Québécoise first and then Canadian second. I like my language, I like my culture, I like my people. So it's like I want to be able to represent myself internationally, to take the decisions that are best for my people as I see it.
We came from a country that first it was a province, and then Panama was a country, was a province of Colombia, and then we became a country. But it's possible, but we have to work hard.
It might be long, but we have to believe.
Gem.
Tributes have been pouring in for tennis star Andy Murray after his emotional announcement that his tennis career is likely at an end.
Nothing helps because you're in lots of pain and you can't do what it is that you want to do and you love doing, or I can do it. It's just not fun, not enjoyable doing it anymore. So.
He's Britain's greatest tennis player ever, said Kyle Edmund, who's now that country's top-ranked male player, and you could say maybe Britain's best sportsman ever. But it was star tennis coach Paul Annacone who summed up Murray's torment. It is an athlete's goal to retire on their own terms. That has been stolen from him. The CBC's Briar Stewart has more on Murray's agonizing announcement and the respect he earned as a champion and a gentleman.
This is not the triumphant farewell Andy Murray might have hoped for. Too distraught to speak, he needed a moment before returning to say his career will soon be over.
Yeah, so not feeling good. Yeah, obviously been struggling for a long time.
A painful admission for a player who was once the world #1. He made history in 2013 for being the first British man to win Wimbledon in nearly 80 years. He won it again 3 years later, beating Canada's Milos Raonic in the final. As a teenager, the grass courts of Wimbledon were all he dreamed about. It's where he hoped to play his final match in a storied career now cut short by a relentless hip injury.
That's where I would like to stop playing, but I'm also not certain I'm able to do that.
It was all very difficult to watch. At this tennis club in London, Christian Gallen said it was clear that Murray was gutted to have to step away from the sport.
It would be easy to just quit. He has money, he has fame, he's done everything he can do, but he's tried for a long time to come back, and you could see how sad he was to kind of admit that it's not possible.
He's shown that it's okay for men to show their emotions.
Amanda Owens is a former tennis player and now a sports psychologist.
He has taken tennis to another level in this country. Also, his contributions to what he's doing off the court with women in tennis, and also raising awareness against homophobia in tennis, is just incredible.
While Murray's tennis future is very much in doubt, he is expected to play at least one more match at the Australian Open next week. Briar Stewart, CBC News, London.
Let's turn now to some people who don't seem to be considering retirement anytime soon. If you've been paying attention to pop music lately, you've probably noticed the 90s are making a big comeback.
There ain't no place like you.
That is a new single from the Backstreet Boys, the original boy band, all grown up. They have kids of their own. They're about to release a new album and heading back out on the road. And they're not alone. The Spice Girls are back together. They've announced a tour of their own. So what's driving this 90s nostalgia? We asked Eli Glasner to find out.
In the late 90s, the Backstreet Boys were the king of the music charts.
Backstreet's back, all right.
And now they're, well, you gotta say it, back.
What are the chances?
With a Grammy nomination, new music video, album, and tour. And they're not alone.
La, 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 la.
The Spice Girls, minus Posh Spice, are also cashing in on the 90s craze. When they reunited to announce a new tour, fan demand smashed records for UK ticket sales. The popularity of the 90s helped make Britney Spears one of the most successful acts in Las Vegas history, raking in $184 million. Some 90s artists never really stopped. This is the classic Hanson earworm from '97. And this is them today.
You go through all the pain and strife, then you turn your back, gone so fast.
And then also drawing in there, you end up with a drone that...
Talking about their new orchestral concept album and live show. With more acts from the 90s returning, the road is getting crowded, but Taylor Hanson is happy the music still strikes a chord.
If this is what you love to do and you've found an audience, then more power to you.
Billboard's Bianca Gracie is unashamed about her love for the 90s and what's missing from music today.
It has such a carefree, feel-good vibe that I feel pop music right now is a little bit more slowed down, a little bit more melancholic and sad, and I feel like listeners like myself, we go back to the 90s to have that, blissful feeling again.
That blissful feeling is also driven by the way the music industry has changed. James Brian McCullum plays with Prozac, a Canadian band also enjoying a 90s revival.
Because it was like right in the cusp of everything going digital, internet blowing up. They're like, oh my God, remember, like they all remember watching it, together. So it was a shared collective experience, which we don't have on that scale anymore.
Now young pop stars are bringing the 90s into their new music. Here's Charlie XCX with a little of TLC's Waterfalls. And this is Anne Marie channeling Britney Spears. And while these singers were barely out of preschool in the 90s, that nostalgia factor adds up to big numbers.
Whenever these artists, talk about the 90s or reference it in their music videos or even dress as a 90s person, that definitely reflects on our Billboard chart. Which might be why the secret sauce to the Backstreet Boys' latest hit, Lyrics by 90s baby Shawn Mendes. Eli Glasner, CBC News, Toronto.
The Moment is up next on The National, but first, a special message from space. Yes, outer space, about a story you'll see here on Sunday night.
Hello, Canada. Coming up on The National, my friend Dave Williams has some insight on my mission on the International Space Station.
The days of playing closies and topsies against the wall are pretty much over. The sports card industry has changed dramatically over the years. Some say the fun is gone. I remember 20 years ago, I didn't think twice about whipping a card against the wall. But now people are encasing them in plastic, putting them under glass, and locking them up in vaults.
Montreal Maroons, there's Lionel Conacher, the big train, and Mike. They call me the #1 world collector in cards and that. The great John L. Sullivan.
At 53, Angelo Savelli has seen the industry change from a boyhood passion to a billion-dollar industry that's losing all of its innocence.
I love the Euros at that time, especially the Lionel Conacher, the big train. That was something that I wanted to have because they were idols of mine, and I never looked into it as the money. And there's not too many people out there that want it because they were great. They want it because it's worth a lot of money. This is the laundry room where I put a lot of the cards that my wife's been crying about.
Savelli started collecting cards when he was only 5. He admits it was an obsession that became even worse as he grew older, an obsession that almost had his wife pack up the kids and leave him a number of times.
She's often said that I was nuts. A lot of time to get rid of it and throw it out. Every day she used to always come up with things like that.
It hasn't been easy over the years with this collection because there's been a lot of family money go into the cards. And here, you know, like I'm getting ready, he's getting ready to give me a punch. But the truth's the truth. But
It says on it, Bobby O'Reilly.
What are some of the funny stories?
when I came home from grocery shopping, and here he'd sold the family car, and I had nowhere to go. I had no car to go grocery shopping anymore. And then another time I found out about the fridge and stove. Well, that just took the cake. I thought it's either stay here or get out. You know, I didn't know what I was going to do.
The only Canadian heavyweight champion of the world.
Savelli has no idea how many cards he has, nor does he know how much he spent over the years on his collection. But whatever it is, it probably doesn't come close to what some of his cards are worth. His prized possession being a 1905 card of the Pittsburgh Pirates' great shortstop, Honus Wagner. It's so rare, only 6 people are known to have one, including hockey superstar Wayne Gretzky, who, with Argo owner Bruce McNall, paid about $450,000 for it. But Savelli says he's not about to give his up.
That there I paid $1,500 with a group of probably another 300-400 cards that were included with this. There was Ty Cobbs, Christy Mathewson, Walter Johnson, Cy Young.
She killed her mother with an axe.
Constable Crabtree!
A convicted murderer escapes.
Are you the ones that let Annabella go?
Blood.
The moment she was convicted, she swore to kill every person responsible.
Still think she's so innocent?
Murdoch Mysteries, Monday at 8 on CBC.
Are you both applying for the job?
Oh, no, I'm just here for support. It's Mark's first interview, and I just want to make sure he doesn't blow it.
Oh.
He's not wrong to worry about that. In many ways, I do not want this job, but in other ways, the money, I do want it.
Wow, that is a refreshingly honest answer.
Oh, he also has his CPR certificate. Yeah, but that stands for cool prankster rascal. You said that was for first aid. Yeah, because I was pranking you like a cool rascal.
I can see, it's clearer now. I can see, it's clearer now.
Let's take another look at this afternoon's deadly bus crash in Ottawa. Rush hour just kicking off when a double-decker city bus slammed into a West End transit shelter. 3 people were killed, 23 were injured, some of them critically. The investigation, of course, is continuing, but we can tell you the driver was arrested at the scene. And Ottawa's Mayor Jim Watson, the Premier Doug Ford, and the Prime Minister have all offered condolences. For Ottawa resident Ryan Baldasso, it was beyond shocking. The 34-year-old takes that route every day from Ottawa to his home in Canada. He was on board another bus that passed by just moments after the crash, and here's how he described what he witnessed in our moment.
It was gut-wrenching to see. I mean, it's not something you see every day. It's completely out of the norm. And, I mean, it's something you don't ever want to see. I mean, just people on their way home from work on a Friday afternoon. So it's a horrible scene. My bus was about 6 back from the one that had crashed into the station. We were coming home and we came to a stop and you couldn't really tell what was happening. And then more and more police cars and ambulances started showing up. Well, as we went by, the bus was pretty quiet. No one really said anything, and it was just, I mean, you heard the few gasps and oh my God, and just everybody hoping that everyone was okay, and yeah, that's pretty much it. It was pretty quiet. For someone that rides the bus every day, I mean, you don't expect that to happen or expect to see anything like that happen.
And of course, it's true of all of these vehicle accidents from Humboldt to now Ottawa. Everything normal, in this case, just heading home Friday, looking forward to a weekend, and all of a sudden a set of circumstances that we don't fully understand, at least as of tonight. And then all of a sudden the death and the injuries. That is the National for January the 11th. Good night.